This is Environmental Science 2, Chapter 11, Part 3 on Energy. In this portion of the video lecture, we will be discussing energy futures, alternative energies, and pros and cons of alternative energies. Basically, the key to sustaining our energy in the future is conservation now. Fossil fuels, of course, are depleting at a rapid rate, so there will have to be other energy sources that we will need to start depending on so we do not have an energy crisis. One of forms of alternative energy, of course, is solar energy. A pro of solar energy is that it is clean energy, very safe, and definitely renewable. The sun comes out every day, so we can use solar energy in a few different ways in homes or buildings. Passive solar energy is designing a home with windows that face to the west and the south, therefore getting the most amount of sunlight in those windows and heating a home passively. So just the heat from the windows can help cut down costs on homes. Solar water heating is taking a look at using a solar collector to convert to electricity to heat water in a home, so you don't have to use gas or other petroleum type of fossil fuels. And solar cells and panels are the other types of ways that we can use solar energy, using a photovoltaic cell to collect the sun rays, which will convert to electricity. The disadvantage of solar energy is it does require lots of sunny weather. The amount of energy produced overall may not be enough for the needs of the entire home, so backup methods may be required. Solar panels have gotten to be a lot more energy efficient than they were 10 or 15 years ago. They have become smaller as well, so you don't have to panel an entire home or an entire roof. Some homes can get by with having an extra set of solar panels in their yard, whereas depending on how much energy you need for your home, you may have to have more. In some cases, electric companies will actually pay you for the energy, the extra energy that you may create through solar power. So you can actually, in some cases, make money. If you have many days of sunny weather, you can actually make money on your electric bill instead of paying the electric company. Wind power is another type of alternative energy. So the wind gets captured in a turbine, and that will turn into mechanical energy that will be connected to an electric generator to be dispersed from the turbine. A pro of using wind energy, the cost of electricity produced is very low. Also, in some cases, if folks choose to put a turbine in their yard, if it generates over what you need for electricity, again, you can have the electricity or the electric company pay you for that extra energy because they can then use that and disperse that to other homes. A negative aspect of wind energy, there's very few places that have enough strong and consistent winds to run those turbine engines. When you drive by on, for example, Highway 14 past the McNeilius factory, you can see those wind turbines out in the field. They look as if they're not moving very fast, but if you get up close, those blades are a whipping. Another drawback is that those generators can be loud and very noisy. There is a movement, kind of a grassroots movement, that's called NIMBY, N-I-M-B-Y, and that stands for Not in My Backyard. Some folks, although they, agree with using alternative energy sources, if they live next to an area with a lot of these turbines, It can be very loud and noisy and kind of disrupt your general residential neighborhood. Hydroelectricity is using water to push a turbine to generate electricity. That water needs to fall. So it's not just a matter, we have to move the water through to spin the turbine blades to generate that electricity. A benefit of using hydroelectricity, it's very clean and renewable, provided that the water is at a consistent flow and falls quite a bit of a distance. Dams that are put in place before the hydroelectric plant can provide recreation. So dams are artificial lakes, and there are some dams that are large enough that people can boat and water ski and do some fishing as well. A con of using hydroelectricity, the water does really have to fall a long distance to build up enough of that stored potential energy to spin those turbines. Although dams can provide recreation for human beings, they can disrupt ecosystems further up and down the river. Also, construction of costs, or cost of construction rather, for dams is very high and does take quite a while. Geothermal energy is using the heat from inside the earth to drive generators. Geothermal heating is becoming more of a popular option for those folks that are building and designing newer energy sustainable homes. Again, it's very energy and cost efficient. Geothermal heat is renewable to a certain point. A negative aspect of geothermal heat is the inside of the earth replaces that lost heat that you're using to drive turbines and create the electricity, is replaced very slowly. And there's only a few places that have geothermal capabilities. You have to dig down very far into the soil. It depends on the layers of the soil and if there's bedrock underneath. Drilling these places for the geothermal tubes to conduct that water, warm water back into the house can also be very expensive. Another type of alternative energy source that is getting more and more prevalent in the media is energy by biomass, taking a look at the energy that's locked up in organic matter. Biomass is usually using plants to burn them to provide electricity. It is cheaper than burning fossil fuels. The only negative aspect is that it does produce carbon dioxide like fossil fuels, but at a much lower rate than burning coal or oil or petroleum. Biomass can take shape in the form of using like a wood burning stove, taking a look at using a peat burning stove, which is a mass of very compressed organic matter, grasses and minerals, and you can take those and burn it. Also taking a look at using different organisms for creating fuel, like algae as a biomass fuel. We can take liquid fuels from biomass. When wood is burned, we can form methanol for burning of fuel. When corn is processed into ethanol, we can use that as well for biomass liquid fuels. Most of the flex fuel vehicles that you see on the road will take a certain percentage of ethanol. It is cleaner burning. That is an advantage of biomass fuels. Again, there is still some carbon dioxide produced, but at a much lower rate than burning fossil fuels. Another option that is in the works is what we call gasohol, which is a mixture of gasoline and alcohol. Many pumps at the gas station will have a label that says 10% ethanol added. So those are becoming very common options in gas stations. Again, taking a little bit of that edge and a little bit of that CO2 out of the burning process. A more recent look into using fuels is using hydrogen as a fuel source. A benefit of that is hydrogen is literally the most abundant element on Earth as well as in the universe. And of course, we get hydrogen from the electrolysis of water, since we have two hydrogen molecules with one oxygen molecule. The process of that requires lots of energy. Separating that hydrogen gas from water through electrolysis does take a long time, and there is a little bit of input of energy that is needed for that. Also, the fact that hydrogen is a very combustible gas, keeping the hydrogen fuel in a vehicle from protection from impact if there is an accident. Those types of things are being engineered as we speak. There are some hydrogen fuel cars out there. Currently, some foreign car makers as well as U.S. car makers are trying to venture into alternative energy sources for vehicles. BMW, Ford, Honda, and Hyundai have some concept cars that use hydrogen fuel. Another con of using hydrogen fuel is many gas stations do not have a hydrogen pump. So that would have to be an economical expense to install those hydrogen fuel tanks, so those folks with a hydrogen powered car could fill up just like everybody else. This has been Environmental Science 2, Chapter 11, Part 3 on energy.